Hallelujah, thine the glory. Hallelujah, amen. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Revive us again.
I'm thinking today about loving children. I mean our own children. Now, I know that this is a very natural thing. It's interesting to me that in Titus chapter 2 and verse 4, the older women are to teach the younger women to love their children. There's a natural inclination, a maternal and paternal instinct, I think, to love them. But that's not really my point. The greatest principle of ethics ever known to man is in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12, where Jesus said, and I'm paraphrasing in the old way, "Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you." And there are some ways in which that principle applies to the way that we treat our children. I'm thinking specifically about Genesis chapter 37. Do you remember about Jacob and all of his sons, one of whom was Joseph? Now, the Bible says plainly in Genesis 37 that Jacob loved Joseph more than all the rest of his children. That's very frightening to me. That's a mistake. And I tell you something, it's going to show up as those children grow, don't you think? And to make matters worse, Jacob made a coat of many colors to give to Joseph. Now, he didn't make one of those for all of his children. He just made it for Joseph. Can you imagine what that coat must have looked like? I assume it was very beautiful. But when people saw that coat, they saw different things. When Jacob looked at the coat, what did he see? Well, he saw an expression that said, I really love this boy. I love my son. What did Joseph see when he saw the coat? Well, my father appreciates me. He loves me, and I love him, and this coat represents that we're really tight. But what about the other brothers? I mean, when they saw it, what do you think well, I don't think they saw a coat of many colors at all. I think they just saw one color, and that color is red. They were furious and hurt, deeply hurt. I mean, can you just imagine how it would feel if your father made it clear to you that he loved your sibling more than you? Oh, I know. Some of you who are watching today may be thinking, well, I always felt that way about my father. I always felt that way about my mother, that he or she loved my sister, my brother, more than me. Well, hopefully that wasn't really true. Maybe, hopefully, you just felt that way and it wasn't true. But in Jacob's case, it was true. He really did love Joseph more. Now, what was the consequence of that? Well, read Genesis chapter 37, and what you'll see is a broken and hurt family and all sorts of problems between Joseph and his siblings, largely because of the way Jacob exalted or elevated Joseph over the rest. Here are the rules now. Are you ready? Number one, never ever have a favorite child among your children. Just don't do it. But now here's number two. If you ever do it, make sure that you don't let your children know it, because the pain that will be caused by that is very, very deep. This is a principle applicable not only to our children, but of course our grandchildren. And it seems to me that what Paul had to say in Ephesians 6 and verse 4 may be applicable here too. Paul says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. Perhaps one way of many that a father could provoke his children to wrath is by showing more affection to one child than to that one. Now, I started out by saying, I think the Golden Rule has some far-reaching ramifications, and perhaps today we should consider that the Golden Rule is applicable even to the way that we treat our children. Have a good day.
Amen. Hallelujah. Thine the glory. Revive us again.